Hey everybody, I'm here today with Taylor Rodriguez, who is an experienced kind of UI and marketer in and out of the video game industry. How are you doing today?
Good, good, Connor. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. For anybody that's watching, we're actually recording this on Valentine's Day. So do you have any Valentine's Day plans after this, Taylor?
Yeah, so FYI, it is my daughter's favorite holiday, even
Okay.
surpasses Christmas or Halloween or anything like that. So, yeah, right after this, we're directly going out as a family and we're just going to go treat her and spoil her so she has a good V day.
Cool, awesome. Well, let's jump right into the questions. My first thing here is you attended the Florida Institute of Technology from 2008 to 2009. How did this kind of help, you know, uh, grow your interest or kickstart your interest in marketing, design, and growth?
Yeah, so I never honestly I came from a family that was all going to college. They all went to major universities, but I was struggling with what to do right after high school. My entire life, if you dive really deep, this always gets a laugh out of people. But my very first dream and goal was to actually be a professional wrestler for the WWE.
Oh, cool.
So for years, for almost a decade, I wrestled and I traveled across the US performing and just trying to get tryouts for a major wrestling promotion. So that was always my intention. But then the girl that I was dating at the time, she was very wise and she said, "Hey, you need to you secure yourself in case you get hurt or you can't pursue this dream of yours. So you need to go to college for something." And, being a good boyfriend, I decided to listen to her. And the only other passion that I really had was video games. And I didn't really know what the niche inside of video games would be, whether it be marketing, development, programming, whatever. But I just started like researching local community colleges around me because my budget was very tight. I couldn't go to a major university. I had to work for everything that I have today. And so I ended up finding, FTC, and they promoted it as an entry level way to get into video game design, their multimedia and programming degree. So that's what really spoke out to me and why I decided to go into it, just to get my foot in the door of the video game industry. Lo and behold, it was mainly a lot of like graphic design, computer programming for like websites, HTML, JavaScript, things like that, CSS. So all of it was very beneficial, and it provided me my first real world big boy job in the world, but it wasn't inside of video games. So to this day, like I'm grateful for it, but yeah, FTC, it holds a little bit of resentment in me because I'm
Okay.
just like, that was a little bit of false advertising. You said you could get me into video games, and they really didn't. But it all worked out in the end. So
Um, just quick question about the wrestling. Did you have like a wrestling persona or entrance song or anything like that?
yeah, so I had two names on what we call the independents, which was Tyson James or Tegan James. So depending on the territory that I was in, I would flip flop names depending whether I was a good guy or a bad guy.
Okay.
And then my typical go-to for like wrestling themes, if copywriting wasn't an issue, depending on where the show was being broadcasted, because if it was on TV, we couldn't use like licensed music. But a lot of times I try to stick with like POD or Linkin Park. I really love the new metal stuff, and that's what really amped me up and got me in the mindset.
Okay, cool. That's really interesting. But going on to the next question, over the years, since you went to FIT, and to now, you've worked a variety of roles, including marketing and graphic design. Uh, how do graphic design and marketing kind of go hand in hand with one another?
Yeah, so it was very interesting because I got started with graphic design and doing computer programming. Then while I was in college, I really saw that my passion was on the visual side of things, figuring
Mm,
out art styles and, just layout design, UI. What at that time we didn't know what UI, UX design was, but I started to gravitate towards graphic design and then eventually UI, UX design. And then just started working on projects, and it obviously it took me a number of years. This didn't happen overnight. But after so many years of doing websites, graphic designs for billboards, cover art for musicians, things like that, it really, my mind started to shift. And understanding more of the UI UX side of things. Like, okay, what is the user experiencing here? How can I make myself more valuable to the marketplace to have this person's CD at the time stand out in the crowd of other CDs? So then that's when I started asking myself questions like, all right, these are very we have to understand human psychology. When you go to the bread store, you go to your local Walmart and you see nothing but 10,000 different brands of breads, what is going to get your human eye to get attracted to a particular brand? That's what UX is. So I started to really dive into that. And then just having a good business mentor in my life, which I highly recommend if you don't have a business mentor in your life, get one ASAP, because it's absolutely game changing. They hold you accountable. But then that's when over lunch one day, he said, hey, you really have a gift for PR, communication, understanding human psychology and what makes a human tick and pick out a particular brand or game or CD over somebody else, you might want to look into getting into marketing or PR. And that's when around, I would say, I think it was around 2016, 2017, I really start technically I was doing marketing stuff since 2012, but I really started to go 100% into it around 2016, 2017. And that's when I really started to convert. But when we see that in the market nowadays, where a lot of graphic designers, they really start with the visual side of things, but after so many years, they understand like user experience is a huge thing and they have to make themselves more valuable to this competitive landscape. So then that's when eventually we see a lot of designers shifting into marketing.
Okay. Speaking of marketing, you worked for, marketing agencies, you've worked for educational institutions, news journals, indie game studios, but the bulk of your work seems to be freelance. How has working as a freelance kind of a brand content and marketing strategist given you a sense of freedom, or just yeah, just freedom that other roles haven't given you?
Yeah, so it's very tricky. We have to ask ourselves like not everybody's cut out to be freelance or work on their own or start their own business, and that's okay. I started in a area where I got really hardcore into the self-help stuff, which can be very dangerous if you don't have a pool of loved ones like really holding you accountable. Because it was at that time around 2010, 2012, when I started my own business for the first time and doing freelance work. That's when it was the self-help boom, the second wave of it was really coming about. And it was, this focus on society. It's all about you. It's all about your dreams, your goals, your passions, and having this inward look, which can be very dangerous if you don't have people holding you accountable. But I started just job hopping and I was noticing like just this trend of these C-suite executives and these people like I grew up in a small town, and I love everybody, knowing everybody, having that intimate relationship with everybody. So if I'm going to spend 40 hours out of my week away from my loved ones to a job, this technically needs to be your second family. So hopefully in a perfect society, in a perfect world, these are people that you love, respect, cherish, you communicate well with, you want to hang out with on your free time. And I just started to notice while going through these corporate jobs after leaving, after graduating college, I just really started to notice like I didn't see myself as this gear just fitting into the system and just going routinely for the next 40, 50 years of my working career. I really wanted something smaller. And I didn't know if it was going to be like running my own business. I was okay with just working with an indie studio and just staying in a tight knit career with, an indie studio and working for 20, 30 years with them. I'm perfectly okay with that. But it wasn't until probably around COVID 2020, and you have this time you're in lockdown, you start to really look inwardly and you start to ask yourself the difficult questions on where you see your life going. Because at that time, a lot of us were faced with our own mortality. And it's like, hey, like at any given day, like tomorrow's not guaranteed. So like what do we do? Like so I really started to see like okay, do I see myself working for somebody else? Like what does this look like? And at this time now I've had two kids. My wife is a photographer. She runs her own business. We do a lot of homeschooling. I'm a caretaker for my father because my mother's passed away. So I need this level of flexibility in my time that a normal 9 to 5 job just can't give me. Because there's no amount of PTO that I could accumulate, and I'm in and out at all different hours of the day. I might be working on a video game project at 5 in the morning when my kids are asleep, or at 9 p.m. when they're asleep. My hours don't really fluctuate between 9 to 5. So being able to be a freelancer or having my own agency now where I can pick and choose what clients I work with and making sure that everything is a good fit, it just allows me to prioritize my own mental health because things can get so chaotic. But also give me the freedom and understanding that I'm building a career. I'm able to serve people. I'm able to keep a tight knit community around me. I only work with clients that I honestly care about and I respect. I'm not chasing after dollars at the end of the day. I'm not chasing after profit margins. At the end of the day, I feel like I'm called to serve, and I just want to serve people that are genuine, good human beings. So being a freelancer gives me the freedom to be able to do that.
Awesome. I actually had a couple other questions about freelance work and the opportunities and freedom it provides, but I think you summed it all up perfectly. So I'm going to jump over to our another question here. But last year you founded Ember and Forge. It's a design and marketing studio. Um, what is Ember Forge about, and how do you kind of differentiate? Sorry, it's really hard for me to pronounce that word. Everybody's got a couple of them, but
Yeah.
how do you separate yourself from a couple other, I guess, companies or agencies that may have similar goals as Ember and Forge?
Yeah, so throughout my career, I was blessed with the opportunity to work for a lot of agencies, some small, some within, tens of millions of dollars worth of gross revenue every single year. So I've seen the big ones and I've seen the small ones. And one common problem that I've seen within agencies is understanding, like, with every service, whether every digital marketing service or design service that you offer, are you honestly, genuinely bringing a positive ROI to your client? When you start scaling your agency to the tens of millions of dollars, and this can, even small agencies can fall into this trap where you're so fixated on having to bring in clients, lead generation, make X amount of dollars to provide for you, for your staff, whatever, that the clients end up becoming like an afterthought, and you start performing these tasks that are just like, you lose sight on why the client came to you in the first place. They came to you for lead generation to help the financial stability of their business. Like, you forgot about them and you started focusing too much on yourself. So while working with these different agencies, it was all about, how can we turn out a profit? What's, the MVP or the minimal viable product or service that we can perform for this client while still looking valuable enough to charge them every single month for a marketing retainer. And while working at these different agencies, I really started to see, like, this is not right. Like, if I was a client that is coming to you for lead generation to bring in more money for me so I can stabilize my family, my employees, like, these are people that I care about. I'm expecting you to perform for me. And, like, so let's take social media for an example. A lot of agencies will tack on social media marketing as part of their retainer package, and they might do graphics and they'll promote copywriting and they'll do TikTok videos that go viral or whatever like that. But what you'll see after typically like the first month, because they want to stand out in the first month, month two, month three, month four, month five, whatever, as time goes on, the posts become less effective, less engaging, less focused on their target client or their target audience. And you start to see the numbers and the analytics slowly go down because the agency, they're stacking so many clients that they're just trying to churn out, different graphics and stuff like that to fulfill their side of things. And they really aren't delivering. They're not using social media as an effective lead generation tool, which it can be. I've built out six-figure businesses just on social media alone. So social media can be a powerhouse for companies, but a lot of agencies treat it like an afterthought. So seeing agencies do this with companies' SEO and email marketing, video marketing, all effective strategies that they can do to broaden the reach of their product or service. And seeing, like, for a lack of a better term, like this laziness or this lack of commitment towards the client, I was like, no, we got to do it better. So it was last year I just finally cut ties with the last agency I was working with, and I was like, I'm just starting my own thing. And it's just been basically word of mouth. And because I've been doing this for 18 years now, I've built out like a rapport within my local community. So now businesses generally just come to me randomly, and they're just like, we trust you. We want you to do our stuff. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
It answers it greatly. Thank you a lot. But a large part of Ember and Forge's mission, just looking at the site and reading up on your LinkedIn page, seems to be support for small businesses. Why is it valuable for small businesses to have a strong marketing and brand presence?
Yeah. So you can the short answer to that is because you can get lost in the fold very quickly, especially in 2026 at the time of this filming. We are in a very competitive landscape. How in the heck do you stand out? We've seen
Yeah.
this on Steam alone, where on average, the last time I looked at it, there's 41 to 42 games getting released every single day on average. Now imagine, I don't care how big of a game you are, you're going up on Steam alone against 40 plus other games. Like the marketplace is just crowded. So how are you going to stand out? So the reason I really started to gravitate towards small businesses was because me, once upon a time, I was that small business. I made a lot of mistakes on how to set up your corporation, your LLC, how to do your insurance, how to start out your marketing. Like, I made so many mistakes because I didn't come from a background or a family that's done this before. I'm the very first entrepreneur and business starter in my whole family generation. So I really had to learn by falling down, hitting roadblocks, and getting back up. So my passion is helping these younger developers or helping these younger business owners that want to do this, but I honestly want to help them avoid all the roadblocks that I experienced, to show them no matter what age you are, how many years of experience, like, you can be successful if you have a honest, viable product or service that can service other people and fill a void in the marketplace. But I really just want to help people, and I've been feeling like I'm called to serve these people. Especially when my heart just goes out to people. Like, I hear these dev stories all the time where it's like, we saved up our life savings for like 6 months to a year, and we've lost everything because I wanted to start my dream of creating my dream game, and then now we had to go back into a 9 to 5 job, and I had to put my dreams on hold, and like that just tears my heart apart. So I'm like, okay, if I can put myself into the operations fold within a video game studio and show you how do you manage your money, how do you strategize the release of your game so you can avoid putting yourself in that horrible situation for not only yourself, but your employees, your contractors, and your own family, like, then I feel like I'm answering my calling. Does that make
Y-
sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. Um, And like a big reason why I had that question is because sometimes I feel like maybe people might throw marketing to the side and treat it as something that's less important. Have you seen that in businesses that you've
Oh
worked with?
yeah.
Okay.
What is the quote that I always say? It's me and a buddy throw it around, but it's 100% true. Where when things get bad, the marketing department is always the first to get fired or laid off. But if things go really well, sales or management or the developers or the programmers, everybody gets credit before marketing. Marketing is a very, non-thankful job or role. So if you're going in it to be glorified, you best pick another department, because I can count. I've been doing this for close to 18 years. I can honestly count on one hand how many times a company or a studio has come to me and just been like, "Yep, it's marketing. Taylor did it. Taylor's team did it." And it's like, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared. You have to have thick skin if you're going to go into marketing.
Good advice. But moving forward here, moving away from Ember Forge a bit, and more into some other game-related stuff. In the past, you've worked freelance. This is listed on your LinkedIn, but you worked freelance for Razor Edge Games as a marketing specialist, and have worked on video game-related projects. How is marketing within the games industry in and of itself different from anything else that you've worked with?
That was a hard pivot for me to experience because you have to imagine my career up until that point, up until COVID, when I made the switch, it was nothing but agencies, service-based businesses, newspaper publications. Like it was service and product-based businesses. It wasn't SaaS, it wasn't entertainment. So when I took my marketing skills and wanted to pivot them from these service businesses to the entertainment industry, which is what it is, the marketing in itself is entirely different. At the end of the day, the gaming industry is passionate and you cannot fake it. You cannot try to hack the system. You always see the best games, the most genuine creators always flourish and come out on top. Like gamers know when marketing, and marketing is essential for video games, don't get me wrong, but the target audience, the gamers that see the ads, they see the marketing, they know if you're real or not. They know if you're genuine or not. You cannot fake it. So there's a lot of marketers that get in here and I see them and they use chat GPT for their copywriting and all of them sound robotic and they say the most like just non-humane things and then they wonder why they're not getting jobs and roles within the industry. It's like you can't fake it. Like you will land a job if you're a genuine good human being and you honestly have value. Like just to put it bluntly, like you cannot, if you are a rookie within this industry, you have to take internships, you have to do pro bono work, you have to get experience, you have to network. Things are entirely different. You cannot hack it. And just the marketing strategies alone are completely different. Like, imagine for me, I came from FTC where they taught you all about like the foundation of digital marketing. Marketing on the online sphere is all about your website. Your website is your hub, that's your bat cave. But now you get into the video game industry, like who goes to a website to learn more about a game? No, we go to a Steam page. Like we go to somebody's YouTube channel, we go to IGN, we go to whatever. Like websites are obsolete. Like I'm not saying don't have them, but like you really have to learn how to optimize your Steam page and figure out SEO around that. So it's completely different. So you cannot, guys, if there's any marketers listening to this that are doing mainly service-based marketing and you're trying to pivot into video games, get ready for a life change.
Well, that's good advice. But moving on here, in what ways can strong design and branding help a game studio stand out in a crowded industry? I mean, you talked earlier about something like 40, 41 games get released a day on Steam. How could good branding help those games stand out from each other?
Yeah, so like back in the day, like the old advice and some of still the current advice is looking back, number one, this is the old advice, and then I'll show you my new advice in a second, is going back to that Walmart store shelf. You have 41 different brands of breads or milk products or whatever. How is that brand visually going to stand out? So, number one, your artistic style is a huge thing, but things have slowly changed because of the competition on Steam and everything like that. It's not so much visual because so many have phenomenal thumbnails now. So many of them have phenomenal Steam cover art now. Like, so it's like, how are you going to stand out? And this is where within the last 3 years or so, we've seen the analytics, we've seen where the marketplace is going. And the number one and number two places for branding your video games or showcasing your games has always been YouTube number one, TikTok is number two, and then actually surprisingly, if memory serves me correctly, Facebook was number three. So it's not these gaming events, it's not the game awards, it's not going to these gaming shows or the game developer conference and having a booth. Like none of those things. Like gamers are discovering your game on YouTube and TikTok. Those are the primary ones. And then third, and a distant third, we see like Facebook groups. So if you're not on those three platforms, you're probably missing out. So you have to get comfortable with being in front of the camera, just sharing your development process, sharing your pitfalls. Stop trying to care so much about your look or your image or having to obtain like this professionalism or have an amazing booth behind you with all these nice little pretty neon lights. Just showcase what you're doing. I've told developers right now, everybody, if you don't have a marketing budget or it's extremely limited, you have to get on YouTube. We've seen the analytics, and this was about 2 years ago. Within about 5 years from now, so now it's about three, YouTube's overall watch time is set to double within the next 5 years. So take everything that they've done for the past 15 years, I believe, of being a brand, and now it's literally about to double within the next five because we're seeing YouTube take over cable television, even people with streaming, because of the economy, they're cutting subscriptions, they're watching their entertainment on YouTube. So I'm telling game studios and solo devs, you have to get comfortable with producing videos. They don't have to be super professional, don't overthink it, but just start releasing content and then take that large form content on your YouTube channel and slice them up and put them on TikTok. That's the best way to get found.
Great, great advice. And speaking of, YouTube and YouTube channels, Emberforge, you have a YouTube channel where you share marketing tips for indie developers. How has your YouTube channel kind of helped you get your message out, but also reached developers and helped them out?
Yeah, so we have to understand YouTube is the second largest search engine there is behind Google, obviously, but Google owns YouTube.
Yeah.
So technically, you could say it's number one. So when you search up a game on Google, on whatever, you're going to see video listings on that. So I tell everybody, I'm transparent. Like my outward marketing, I mean, you've seen it. Like it's very limited. I don't sit here and send emails every single day. I don't make a whole bunch of TikTok videos. I network on LinkedIn with other business professionals because that's who my target audience is, because these are the people that make the decisions within their game studios. And then for them to have more valuable content and to learn more about me without hopping on a million sales calls or discovery calls, they have YouTube videos where I'm trying to solve very frequently asked questions like, what's the best social media platform to get on? How early should I start my marketing strategy? What should my social media content look like? All these little topics, I break them down into shorter YouTube videos, and then I even have longer ones if you want to deep dive. But because it's a search engine, when developers are searching for, what social media content to do as an indie game studio, my stuff's appears on the top of the list because I'm most frequent with my videos, or I need to get better at it now because my schedule's changed. But people come to me just authentically. Like my outward marketing strategy, it's not a lot. It's literally LinkedIn and YouTube. And I still gather a few businesses that contact me every single month. And if I can help them, I help them. If not, I refer them out. But literally, like it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. A lot of businesses overcomplicate their marketing strategy, but you just have to go where the market's going.
Awesome. What is your single biggest piece of advice for anyone marketing their own business, product, or indie game?
Besides getting on YouTube.
If you want to say, it could be, I mean, you've already talked so much about YouTube if that's your biggest piece of advice, but yeah.
uh, that one, but it would also have to be, and this is a controversial one for some reason. I have no idea why it's controversial because it makes sense. But when I say this strategy, sometimes I get a little like negative feedback, but it's the games that always seem to pop off are the ones that have great hooks. And by hooks, I mean the elevator pitch, the one or two sentences. What does your game explain your game to me in like 10 seconds? And we've seen games like this really pop off. Like one of the examples I see is like Cult of the Lamb, where it was very much like a farming simulator, like Stardew Valley, mixed with like this demonic Halloween artistic flary art style, and they blended them together. So like you take a fan that's a fan of Stardew Valley and you say, hey, I'm developing this game that has this artistic flair, this Halloween horror theme to it, this cutesy art style, but it's very like horror-ish. Like now you've piqued my interest. Now I'm like Stardew Valley, but like horror themed with cutesy art style. Like, okay, now you got a question mark above my head. Now you've raised intrigue, and now I'm going to type in your game inside of Steam to figure out like what does he mean by this? So you have to figure out what is that unique hook that's going to cause your game to stand out. If it's another carbon copy, well, I don't want to list out any names to throw any shade, but if it's just another carbon copy, like gamers will recognize it and you won't ultimately be successful. So, what is the two or three games that your game is inspired by, that's gained inspiration from, and how would you convey it if they blended together? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Um, this is one of my last kind of main questions here before we kind of head over to my blind rankings that I typically do. But what is a dream game or project of yours that you'd like to work on?
Okay, so um, for myself, it would probably never get developed because it just didn't sell that many units. But I'll see if I can find it. Arguably my favorite game of all time, and it needs more recognition.
Hmm.
Metal Arms Glitch in the System. Phenomenal multiplayer, phenomenal single player campaign. If you're a fan of like shooters but satire with robots that you can blow up, this game is absolutely phenomenal. This game, the indie studio or the studio that developed it, they got bought out by Blizzard and Activision.
Oh.
So realistically, this IP is locked up and it's probably never going to get out of the vault. And we're probably never going to see a sequel to it, which breaks my heart because it's like it's a phenomenal game. Um,
Hmm.
so personally, I've always had this idea of like, okay, if I ever develop my own game, which obviously this is years out, probably in a perfect world, I would probably develop like a spiritual successor to this just for my
Okay.
own personal satisfaction. If I had to join a team that was already working on an established IP, back in the day, I've always been an Xbox kid just because of various emotional reasons. How me and my dad played Xbox together, you know, during Christmas of 2003, I got Crimson Skies and Voodoo Vince, and that those games that my family played together was the very last Christmas that we experienced together before my mom went through a series of health issues. So that Christmas and knowing that Xbox, the brand was tied to that, I've always cherished the brand of Xbox. Um, but with so in a perfect world, I've always wanted to join the team of Xbox just to have this like self-fulfillment, just to say like, hey, look, like I started out with this passion and now I'm joining my dream corporation or my brand. But unfortunately, with the direction that they've been going the last 7 years or so, morally, I don't think, even if an offer landed on my table from Microsoft, I don't know if I would morally want to join them. But I always had an idea of like, oh, could I go work on the Halo IP? Because, oh man, the hours that me and my boys poured into Halo,
Hmm.
dude, I was a Halo guy.
Yeah.
So,
I
man, but yeah.
Well, I love Halo too. It's actually been a big connection point between me and my fiance. During COVID, we played all of the Halo campaigns together when we were separated. But these next two questions I've got here for you are blind rankings. Have you ever seen me do my blind rankings?
No.
So basically, I'm gonna give you a prompt, and then I've got five games, but I'm only gonna give you one game at a time. So you're gonna have to blindly place, rank it from one to five without knowing what the other games are. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay. So I'm ranking these games in order of like best to worst or how much
Yeah.
I like them.
So, here, I'll give you the first
But I
one.
don't know the five games, right?
Yeah, you don't know which five games. So
Oh, that's
I'll
not
give you.
fair. Okay.
So you're gonna rank these games, five being worst and one being best,
Okay.
based on their environmental storytelling. So, the
Okay.
what the environment and the levels tell you. So the first game I've got here is Elden Ring.
I don't know the other four.
Sorry,
I'm going to play it safe and I'm going to put it right in the middle at three
at three.
to give me wiggle room.
I've got The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah, that was my jam. All right, so now that I put Elden Ring at three, is The Last of Us better than Elden Ring? For me, the environment, I would put it at a two. I would put it
Two,
above Elden Ring. Okay.
Dead Space.
Uh, I'll put it below Elden Ring and The Last of Us, but I don't know if I want to put it one or two because the environment is banging.
This is, are you gonna put it at four then?
Yeah, I put it four.
This is
You're going to get me in trouble here.
This is well, I believe it or not, this is a very common thing that happens. Um, if I looked at my last 25 blind rankings, I'd say that 20 of them would end up with one and five being the last two rankings because
Yep,
people are too afraid to start
yep.
off with that. But your next game is BioShock.
Ah, yeah, BioShock, I would probably have to put it at the one.
Okay, so this
You're going to
next
make me
game,
put the like literally the best game as the worst one.
number five's Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that definitely doesn't deserve five, but
So
yeah.
your list is number one, BioShock, number two, The Last of Us, number three, Elden Ring, number four, Dead Space, and number five, Red Dead Redemption 2.
I'm not mad at BioShock being one. I'm
No,
not mad at that.
BioShocks, I think they're all good in their own ways, but I've got another one here. So you're gonna rank these games based on their user interfaces, so like their menu system, their pause
Ooh.
system, just like the general style, of all of those,
Okay, now we're
from
talking.
one through five. Yeah, this one's special because I know that you've done UI stuff.
Yeah.
So your first game here is Persona 5.
It's a one's best, five's worst.
One's best, five's worst.
Oh, Persona is like banging. You would have to do that for or two or one. So I would. There's one game I'm thinking about. If you call it out, it would instantly go to one. But I will put Persona at one.
Okay. I can't read your mind, so I don't
Yeah,
know
I'm
if
really
I.
hoping you don't call out a particular game because there's only literally one or two games I would put above Persona.
Okay. Minecraft.
Ugh. Uh, two.
Two.
Or no, 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 not two. I'm sorry, four. Yeah,
Four.
that's worse. Yeah.
Okay. Skyrim.
Not horrendous. There's just like one big thing I'm about is like cognitive overload. So there's just too many things on the screen at one time.
Mm,
But it doesn't deserve to be worse than Minecraft, though. Say three.
three. All right. Super Mario Galaxy.
We were just playing that 2 days
Really?
ago. We
That's
went out and bought an old Wii because my
okay.
daughter wanted to see it, and we showed her Wii Sports. So that's fresh in my brain. So that was so simple. That would have to be a two.
Two. Okay. And your number five is going to be Terraria.
Okay. Well, I've never played that one,
You've
so
never
I'm not
played
familiar with
Terraria?
that one.
You're not
Yeah.
familiar with Terraria? Wow,
Well,
that's
I'm familiar with it, but I can't
oh
remember the
oh yeah.
UI. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. What was the one that you didn't want me to call out?
Probably Expedition 33.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Expedition 33, and I'm sure I could think of what was the other one that was. So probably Expedition 33 was just phenomenal. And I
Phenomenal.
would I would pick that over Persona.
Okay. Um, my next question I typically always ask people is, what is your favorite game of all time? But you already talked about Metal Arms being
Mm,
your favorite game, right?
yeah.
So we'll skip that. But th this is my last question before I let you go, and you can spend time with your family today. I hope you guys have fun with that. But
Thank you.
is there anything else you'd like to add before we end the interview here?
The one thing that I'm discovering about myself that I would share with other people within the industry, and I struggle with this, is you get so wrapped up with working within the industry that you forget to be a gamer and you forget what made you so passionate about this industry to begin with. I work on a number of different projects that I'm learning to manage every single week. So I find myself, if I'm not putting boundaries up with my clients and the work, and I'm not properly delegating tasks to contractors, that by the end of the day, when I do have free time to myself, I don't want to game as much. And I have you don't even see it on the other side of the wall. I have all my retro consoles with all my library of games, and these are all my favorite games of all time. And I look at them at the end of the day after I'm exhausted. I'm like, I want to play these games. These games are amazing, but I'm too burnt out from the video game world to find myself playing a video game. I want to go turn my brain off, go for a walk, go watch a movie, but then I end up missing my passion.
Mhm.
So, my advice or anything that I would say I'll leave everybody off with is just don't be afraid to put up boundaries if you can. Obviously, if you work within a studio, you're called to work overtime or crunch. I get it, but find some way never to forget your passion because by playing games that are new or fun that bring back those nostalgic vibes, they recharge your batteries. So even if it's 10 minutes after the kids go to bed, find time just to play a fun game. That's what I'll leave you with.
That's perfect advice. Thank you so much. Everybody, again, this is Taylor Rodriguez. Thank you so much for stopping by for an interview.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.